Hey, I am Rishabh, the co-maker of Podnotes. I'm here to give you a brief introduction about how Podnotes work. So Podnotes is a tool for podcasters to convert their podcasts into transcript, timestamp, show notes, summary, content, and audiograms within seconds using AI. So let's just dive in. I will quickly go to the sign up or login page. As I'm already signed up, I will quickly log in. So it just takes 2 to 3 seconds to take you to the dashboard page. So this is how the Podnotes dashboard look like. I will quickly give you a walkthrough of what different things you can do with Podnotes. So first, these are the four default options which you can set. First is input language. So this is the language of your podcast. It can be auto detect or you can specify a language. Second is the output language or the language of summary or anything you generate. If it is auto detect, we will match it up with input language, or else you can select something. Third is the summary length, and fourth is the style of the summary. Now looking at the options of uploading a podcast, either you can upload a podcast of about 500 MB, or you can directly enter the audio MP3 URL of the podcast to upload it. Second option is like RSS feed. You can just add a RSS feed and fetch a particular episode and uh, generate the content out of it. Third is text. You can paste the transcribed podcast and process that. And fourth is YouTube URL. You can just paste the YouTube URL and we will start processing it. So these are four types of different options you can do. Quickly going to saved podcasts, you can see all the different podcast you have processed. We have You can also assign a folder to a podcast. When you go inside a podcast, you can see the timestamps, the summary, the raw transcript, the content generated out of a podcast, show notes generated out of podcast. You can chat with your podcast, or you can generate audiograms using your podcast. Uh, so so if you like a podcast, it will appear in the favorite podcast section. Magic Chat is a feature where you can chat with all of your podcasts combined. And in settings, you can do all sort of redeem settings, set up your default settings, or download the data as CSV. Going back to our inputs, let's just process a podcast. So I will quickly upload something from my gallery. I will quick. So yeah, so my podcast is uploading. It can take 30 seconds to a minute depending on the size of the podcast. Might take longer for larger podcasts. So once the podcast is uploaded, you will get an option to just process it, and that's it. Your podcast is processing. You can either like go to podcasts or just close this modal. I will quickly go to podcast. So you can see there's a message saying your podcast is being processed. So it takes around 2 to 3 minutes for smaller podcast, and like bit longer, like 5 to 10 minutes for bigger podcast to process. Once it is processed, it will appear. So this was a quick 2 minute introduction of Podnote. We are releasing a video series detailing every feature and steps of using it. Thank you. Bye.